Today on Chit Chat, I have Pete Whitlow. Pete is an experienced executive coach and a human resources veteran. I loved getting to speak with him and learn about his deep passion for people, and I think you will too. So find him on LinkedIn and make your own connection today.
Pete, thank you for joining Chit Chat today. Um, you are actually the first member of the Chit Chat roster that I have not had the pleasure of working with directly. And so I'm extremely thankful that you're here today. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump into kind of your career.
All right. Well, thank you, and it's my pleasure to participate. When I heard of a couple people, other people doing it, I was like, "Wow, what a great idea and a great concept!" So, thank you very much for the invitation to allow me to do that.
Thank you.
So, I say to people that I am a business professional who focuses on the HR component of business, um, because people and the satisfaction of people, development of people, the growth of people, engagement of people within the business is really what my passion is. And so I have spent a number of years utilizing that in the retail space. That's where I spent the majority of my career doing it in retail. And for the past 2 years, I was outside of the retail space and into the dental management space. And in that space, it was quite interesting because the majority of our clients, 80% of our clients were children, and it was children on Medicaid. And so it was really an opportunity to meet a different and diverse group of people. And I believe that every person's an individual and everyone's story is different. And you have to treat a person according to their story, not necessarily the story that you make up for them in your mind.
Sure. I love
Yeah,
that. Well, let's dive into your story. What
sure.
was your first job?
It's always funny. So I started my first job when I was 14 years old,
Okay.
and my next door neighbor. I'm a military brat, and in the community that I lived in, they were all retired military. My dad was probably one of the only active military people, and he was younger than most of the others in the neighborhood. But in my next door neighbor, Mr. Lewis, owned a car wash. It was called Community Car Wash, and it was exactly 1.3 miles from our house. And he came to me one summer and he says, "Hey, I need someone just to be there in the summer with the other person to help with the car wash, help pump gas, help take care of the customers." And I said, "Absolutely." So I started there at 14 years old at the community car wash. And by the time I left, I was able to run the entire business
Wow.
from the bookkeeping to everything. And I did that until I was 18 years old. I remember on my 18th birthday, my brother came to me and said, "All right, you can't be a community car wash guy the rest of your life. It's time to go somewhere else and get another job." And so he took me to Montgomery Ward, who was hiring for the holidays. And I became a stock person in the men's flannel shirt department, stocking flannel shirts for this holiday season at Montgomery Ward.
Okay.
So, sort of like, so two of my first jobs.
So that's very
Absolutely.
interesting.
Yep,
And then
absolutely.
tell me about when you were younger, you had this job, but what did a job look like to you? So were you influenced by a lot of jobs in your community, or what did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, I will tell you, if my father had his way, I would have been in the military.
Okay.
And so, because my dad was in for 27 years, my older brother was in the military, my younger brother was in the military, and but that was not the route. I always wanted to be a school teacher because
Okay.
I always had that passion for people, to teaching people, to getting them to grow and to develop and to, realize potential within themselves. And so I always wanted to be a school teacher. And
Uh,
even when I went to college, I didn't major in education though, which was the quite fascinating part. I
yeah.
majored in business, and I'm like, so it never came. However, I was able to achieve that through my job as an HR professional. Quite frankly, I was a regional training manager at one point, and really the way that I handle and develop and coach people now in my roles really allows me the opportunity to realize that desire to be a teacher.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great, and I love being able to look back on our kind of inspiration when we were younger to see how it maybe has come to fruition as an adult that you maybe didn't think of, because 'cause you're not directly a teacher in school, but
Right.
by no means are you out of learning.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
very nice, and was there a specific age group you wanted to teach or
It
specific
wasn't.
subjects?
No, it was just children, and it was just a passion for children. And again, I I was sharing with someone yesterday, there's a situation in my neighborhood there where there's a group of kids who come through and they see it for harm. And I'm trying to make it for good, the conversations that I'm having with them. And again, it's just another opportunity to teach
Yeah.
versus to ridicule versus to yell at or fuss at, but to help them to be better than today than they were yesterday.
I love that. Just
Yeah.
taking a minute to kind of observe the situation and know how you can positively affect it. Shifting gears then outside of kind of what you've been doing in work or what you wanted to do as a kid with work, what do you like to do outside of, a 9 to 5 job? Is there something you enjoy just to kind of let loose and have some fun?
I would say it's twofold. First of all, I don't think I ever stopped working. I mean, I think that started when I was 14 working at this community car wash because I had to work there and then go home and do homework and
Hmm.
then be up to go to school. So I think my work ethic started there and it has just lasted.
Yeah.
So outside of work, I've started like my own little company off to the side. And that's really helping people who are in their job search. And it's helping them really to, what I say, take the angst out of it because I've done it twice now. And there's a level of angst that goes with completing the job search.
Hmm.
And so I spend, even though I have a company that have developed, I spend a lot of time giving that service away for free to friends, to family members, to what have you, helping them to come up with a strategy, helping them with their resume, helping them with LinkedIn, teaching them about networking. Anyone that I've talked to, you will ask him. First thing Pete tells me is that 80% of the people who get a job is through networking,
Yeah.
and you got to be able to network in order to make it happen. And then finally, interview and prepping to interview. Actually, a buddy of mine who is working for one of the major airlines reached out to me today and said, "Hey, I got an interview on Friday. Can we just spend some time on Thursday evening? I'll buy dinner, but dinner we're going to be talking about the interview that I have and just giving me some tips." And so that's really the passion that I have. That also I think is part of that teacher in me
Hmm.
because not only do I review it, then we have to have a face-to-face conversation, be it by way of Zoom or Skype or what have you, to talk through my findings so that, in the future, if they have to go through this again, they've been taught the skills in order to do it. As an HR professional, and especially the jobs that I'm looking at or applying for, it's really they're looking for people to coach the senior level executives. And so
Yeah.
that's really one of my passions as well, is really being able to walk into their office and be it the CEO or another C-level leader and sitting with them and understanding what their needs are and helping them through their needs, be it supervising a person, or maybe it's part of a business initiative, or maybe it's they're having someone that they're working with that they're not connecting with.
Mm.
That's also part of things that I'm passionate about doing with leaders, is really sitting with them and assessing their needs and then helping them to come up with a strategy to address them.
That's great. I think that's so powerful because anyone at any position of an organization needs someone that has their back in that way and that support system. So
Yeah,
I think that's incredible that that's a passion of yours.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so when I'm not doing that, I have a couple of bicycles and I love to just get on the bike and just ride.
Okay.
That's sort of like the relief that just like, okay, just to escape the world or listen to a great podcast or something of that nature. That's what I love to do when I'm not really working, but I always find myself working.
Pete, I really appreciate you taking the time to jump on to chit chat with me. I have loved getting to talk to you and learn about the passions and things that make you tick. I think what you're doing is incredible. And on behalf of those that are still looking for a job, thank you for all the effort you put into helping others. And cheers to the job search. I hope that yours goes very well.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And thank you for the invitation to chit chat with you.
Thank you.